Shalom. Call Halayim La. All praises to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachakwadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who still rule and teach well, who taught me this 100% truth. Peace, blessings, and safety unto the Lord's elect. Now this says, yes, most historians think Mary, the mother of Yahweh Shai, was likely a teenager when she gave birth to Yahweh Shai. In first century Israelite culture, girls were typically betrothed, meaning engaged, around 12 to 14 years old and often married shortly after. Yes, they were virgins. They were virgins. So now this lesson is going to be based upon this article here. 2 articles I got that came out this week. And the first one says, parents criticized for throwing a baby shower for a 12-year-old daughter. So this is being criticized as the worst thing in the world. And you see the father is there with her. Okay, he's obviously not an established man, but it's a part of our culture. We would marry our daughters off young, 12 to 14, just like who you call Jesus. Yeah, his mama was a teen mom. What are you gonna say about her? Are you gonna criticize her parents? Are you gonna criticize her parents? What was his father's name? Heli. You know, are you gonna criticize Heli? No, I bet you won't. But you're going to criticize her parents for throwing her a baby shower because she's 12. See, this world is upside down. You'd rather your daughter get ran throughout middle school, throughout high school, send her to college to be a jump around and a hoe in college, let her join the military, let her get passed around the military base, then come home, get married and white, you know, and you taking her down the aisle and all this bullshit, man. See, none of that's a part of our culture. Our culture is we will marry our daughters off young to an established man, and she would be raised to be a wife at a young age. None of that school and shit, none of that middle school, high school, prom, none of that shit. Running the streets, none of that shit. But this is being criticized. But like I said again, the one who you call Yahweh Shai, or one you call Jesus, real name Yahweh Shai, his mother was a teen mom. Now this is from an article from Jamaica. It says, which is the tribe of Benjamin. It says nearly 6,000 schoolgirls pregnant yearly. Jamaica's teen pregnancy crisis fuels push to raise age of consent to 18. And see, this is the thing. You have an age of consent, but then if you try to get a woman that's the age of consent, people looking at you like you weird. They'll try to bring charges on you even if you got a woman that's the age of consent. It's something wrong with you. Oh, you 30, you 33. Why you looking at an 18-year-old? Or why you looking at a 17-year-old? Because that's, first of all, she been a woman. And even in this society, that's past the age of consent. Now all of a sudden it's a crisis because people who's biologically ready to have sex are having sex. Now I will say that it should be more discipline. There should be more order. It should be done in righteousness. But is it abnormal? No, it's not abnormal, man. And this is what the world is going to come to understand. And we're going to establish the righteous order of all this dysfunction that's going on. The sons of God, the Israelites, beginning with the elect. It says Jamaica's teen pregnancy crisis. Nearly 6,000 schoolgirls become pregnant each year in Jamaica. At least they ain't lesbians. It says almost 49% of girls who drop out of school do so because of pregnancy. I mean, what's school teaching them anyway? To be independent? To not need a man? To be a career chaser? You know what I'm saying? What good is that doing anyway? And this is the problem with society. It says, at least when they get pregnant young, all they know is being a mother. All they know is raising children. All they know is being soft. They ain't never learned to not need a man because they went to school and got all these degrees. When you get pregnant young, you don't have that prideful spirit that I don't need a man. You're young. You know you need guidance. you know you're going to need help. It says teen pregnancy is a leading driver of female school dropout rates nationwide. Calls are growing to raise the age of consent from 16 to 18. Discussions include possible close-in age exemptions to protect teenage relationships from criminalization. I mean, now you're going to criminalize somebody for having sex with somebody. This is where we at. Mind you, they've been women. Why do you think that it says historians understand, because this is true, that the mother of Yahushua was between the age of 12 to 14? She was between the age of 12 to 14. And this is because we got virgins. Let me get this precept. We got virgins, man. But then getting with a woman who's 35-year-old divorcee with 72 bodies, that's all good, right? Or sending your daughter to college and she's got 30 bodies by her senior year, that's all good, right? The whole football team, the basketball team, they done all smashed her, passed her around. She's going to frat parties. She's dressing up for Halloween. That's all good, right? But to marry your daughter off and for her to bear children at a young age, that's a problem. This is Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 15. We'll start at 13. It says, if any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, and give occasion of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid, meaning he found her not a virgin. He had sex with her, and she wasn't a virgin. How do you know if a woman is a virgin after you have sex with them? Because the blood-stained sheets, you pop the cherry, you break the hymen, you pop the cherry, and blood spills out of the vagina. And that's a token of virginity. That only happens once. And this was a part of our custom. It says, then shall the damsel of the father and mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity. The signs of the damsel's virginity, or the tokens of the damsel's virginity, is the blood-stained sheets that the parents would keep as a record. That, look, I gave this man my daughter, I sold this man my daughter, or I gave this man my daughter. And that's another thing. You will pay a dowry. There's a price that you will pay for virgins. Okay? It says, then shall the damsel of the father and mother and her mother and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city, in the city. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hated her. And lo, he have given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of the city shall take that man and chasten him. And they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver. So they will beat the man, whip him, and he will have to pay 100 shekels of silver for creating that lie. And give them unto the damsel, the father of the damsel, because he had brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. And she shall be his wife, and he may not put her away all his days. So that was the punishment for a man that bring a lie upon his wife, saying she wasn't a virgin when she really was. But I just read that precept to prove to you that we get virgins. And when are women virgins? When they're young. Once they pass the flower of their age, as the Apostle Paul said. Let me go there. Once a woman passes the flower of her age, which is puberty. Do they still teach about puberty in school? I don't know. I haven't been there in 16 years. But puberty is when you become an adult. Not 18 years old, you know, like this society thinks. First Corinthians chapter 7, verse 36, it says, but if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, once again, we get virgins. We get virgins. Okay? We're going to get them young in the kingdom. We're going to get them when they're fresh, when they're virgins. We're not going to get them when they washed up, when they thoughts, when they already got 2 and 3 bodies. We're going to get them young. We're going to get them when they virgins, when they pure. What's wrong with virgins? Don't the scripture say in Revelation that the ones that are saved, these are virgins, the ones that follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth? These are they that were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. So being a virgin is a pure and righteous thing. So what's wrong with a man having one? It says 1 Corinthians 7 and 36. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely toward his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, which is puberty, that's that blooming process, and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not. Let them marry. So Paul is saying, look, man, if you really want to have sex with your betrothed wife, your virgin, as long as she passed the flower of her age, you can have sex with her. And that's the case with Joseph and Mary. She was past the flower of her age, but they had not waited until the marriage ceremony. Joseph had sex with her before the marriage ceremony, and she became pregnant. And so, not willing to make her a public example in embarrassment, because they had done it out of order, he just put her away. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 7, verse 24. It says, hast thou daughters? Have care of their body, and show not thyself cheerful toward them. Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding. So we will marry our daughters off at a young age. We will marry them off when they're virgins. Okay? So this crisis, look, you're going to have a whole lot of teen pregnancy in the kingdom of heaven. It's going to be a crisis. It's going to be a crisis of pregnant teens in the kingdom of heaven. And guess what? That's righteous. When King David was on his deathbed, they brought him a virgin, a young virgin maid. And she was fine from the tribe of Issachar. She was a fine so-called Mexican virgin. They brought him to King David to see if he was going to have sex with her when he was on his deathbed. They didn't bring him an old hag. Hell, King David had many other wives, but they wanted to bring him something fresh, something new, to see if he would get aroused. So you're going to turn around and call Mary's parents. Let me go to the scripture with Mary's lineage. It's Luke the 3rd chapter. This is Luke. Luke chapter 3. Luke chapter 3, verse 23, it says, and Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being as was supposed the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli, which Heli was the father of Mary, because Joseph's father was named Jacob, if I'm not mistaken. I could go to Matthew 1. Matthew 1, verse 16, it says, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary. Yeah. So Joseph's father, Yahushua's grandfather, was named Jacob, and he begot Joseph, who was the husband of Mary. Mary's father was named Heli. So you're going to say Heli, it's a shame that Heli allowed his daughter, who was a teenager, to be pregnant? You're going to say that too? Like the scriptures say, surely a turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. But I'm going to close with this one. The scriptures say the fashion of this world shall pass away. Let's go there. The mindset of this world, the customs of this world, how people shame, righteousness, but they uphold wickedness in this world. That's all going to pass away. When the white man get out of power, that's all going to pass away, because he's the problem. He's the one that put this mindset on the people. There's a quote from Kim Jong-un. I don't know how true it is, but they said that there's a quote that he made. He said somehow the white man convinced so-called black people that homosexuality was okay, but polygyny was a sin against God. Somehow he convinced you people that. Somehow he convinced you that polygyny was a sin against God. And this is another reason why we marry our women away young, because they more than likely will have to be a sister wife. And see, that pride comes through age, and a woman having access to her man, and only her having access to him. But if you're being raised up from a young age to share your man, it's normal to you. That jealousy and that pride is not going to be there. Of course, you're going to have moments. Even Rachel and Leah had moments. But it's a part of our custom. It's normal. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Anyway, 1 Corinthians 7:29, it says, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. Let me see, which verse is it? It's actually verse 31. 1 Corinthians 7:31, it says, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So this world is about to pass away. Okay? It says, for the lust of the world and the works that are therein shall pass away, but he that doeth the will of my Father shall abide forever. Okay? In the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have teen pregnancy. So get that through your head. Lord, when it's edifying, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Kwame Asherah, Shalom.